Hello, family. It's my weekly update for me to share things. I mean, you remember when I started this, I said this is the pastor's way of communicating to the parish his dreams, hopes, visions for our family. And so this week I'd like to tell a story that I've told before, and I'm sure some of you may remember it. But my very first summer assignment as a seminarian, I was up at a parish in the north, and the pastor one of my first days there, the pastor got me in the car and we started just driving around. And I asked him, like, what were we doing? And he said, well, I'm showing you the boundaries of my parish so you can see how big a parish it is. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And he goes, well, it's not just nice. I'm responsible for all the souls in this geographical area. And I just kind of made a face, and he said, well, that's my main responsibility. He said, as someone who reports to the bishop, I'm helping the bishop, right, get all the souls in this area to heaven. And so as a pastor, right, that's my job. He goes, the bishop's job is to get all the souls in the diocese to heaven, and I help him do that by helping pastor this church in my region. He goes, and then you can go further. The archbishop, is in charge of the whole state of Pennsylvania. The Pope in charge of the world. That's why no one wants to be the Pope, because he has to get all the souls in the world to heaven. And so I was like, I think about that every time I've been assigned to a pastor as a parish. Now that's only twice, but it still comes back to me every time I think about what my main responsibility is as a pastor of a parish. And it really is not just to get the souls of those who go to Mass to heaven, or the souls of those who are members of my church to heaven, but all the souls in the geographical region of this parish, right? All those souls to heaven. So I think it was last week I decided I wanted to know how many that was. So I Googled, thank goodness for the internet, 3 school districts that directly report to me, like directly are in my region. That was Big Springs, Carlisle, and South Middleton Township. Now, but to be honest, we also dip a little bit into Cumberland Valley School District, Bermudian Springs a little bit, I think we dip into those a little bit, but primarily it's South Middleton Township, Carlisle, and Big Springs are my 3. So I Googled the population of each of those school districts, and then I added them together. I'll give you a second to think about what you think that number is, and then I will tell you. It is a big number, and I was kind of shocked at it. It was 77,800 people. Now, that's just those 3 school districts. So my guess is if you dip into those others that my region covers, it probably is 80,000 altogether. That is a lot of souls that I am responsible for as pastor of St. Patrick's to get to heaven, right? Can't do it alone, right? That's why we have a parish full of parishioners to help me help all those souls get to heaven. How do we do that? Well, let me show you something old, something new. Right? This is how we do it. You see these on banners all over the church, on plastic cards in the back of the church. It's to remind us of who we are and what we need to be about, right? It's not just about getting the souls of the parishioners to heaven, but all the souls in the Carlisle. It's really on 81 from the Turnpike exit to the Newville exit. That's my geographical area. So it's between St. Catherine Drexel and Our Lady of Visitation, if you want to think about parishes, that it's between. So that big area is my responsibility. So if you're part of a ministry, you're part of a group in the church, we need to start asking ourselves, as that group, as that ministry, what are we doing to help Father evangelize to the communities around us, to the neighbors, to the friends, to the people in the grocery store? What are we doing to share with them why we love our faith, why we love Jesus, and why we are all about what we need to be about, right? And so this book I'm holding in my hand, right, This is a great book. I wrote this during lockdown because I had a lot of extra time. And so I thought that, I've been promoting this mission and purpose since I got here 5 years ago. But it wasn't until COVID lockdown that I wrote this book, Casting into the Deep. And Casting into the Deep takes a very close look at our mission statement, introducing people to Jesus and together fully following him, and our purpose statement of gather, connect, serve, and go out. There's at least one article on each of those four. There's 2 articles on this. I think there's a couple more articles on gather, about the liturgy and why we do what we do. So I encourage you to take this book and read it. It's online. If you go on our website and you click on resources from the toolbar at the top, there'll be a link to Casting into the Deep, and you can read up on why we do what we do and how we do it. But a greater question is to ask yourself, as a ministry of the parish, what part of this mission and purpose am I fulfilling? How am I helping people with what I do in my ministry to grow closer to Jesus and to evangelize to the community around me? 78,000 people is a lot of souls, right? And our goal as Christians is to get them to heaven, right? And so we want to focus on that in everything we do, right? In every way we evangelize, I try to gear my homilies, especially on Sundays, but even more so on weekday, about what are you doing after you leave church? Like, how are you living your life outside of that moment at Mass? That moment at Mass is to thank God for all he's given you in your life, right? And giving you the strength when you receive the Eucharist to go out and share what God has done in your life with others so they can see the light of Christ, be the light of Christ to others. So I encourage you, if you haven't read this yet, go online and read it. It's not that long a read. It's kind of 8 or 9 pages altogether, right? Think about the ministries you're involved in church and how they can accomplish this goal to help me help others get to heaven. I mean, that's our goal. That's what we need to be about. And so I really would appreciate if you'd focus on this. Think about this in your daily life as you go about this week and the next. And so thank you very much. And I'm glad I was able to share this with you. I'd like to share a couple other things with you. Kind of a personal note, but also affects the parish as well. I'm not quite sure why this happened, but everything the Holy Spirit has a reason for. I was just recently elected to presbyteral council at the diocese and appointed to College of Consultors at the diocese as well. Those are 2 very big councils at the diocesan level that assist the bishop. And the presbyteral council helps assist the bishop in the needs of the priests of the diocese. So I'm particularly responsible for Cumberland, Perry County. Like, priests can bring things to me, and then I go to the bishop with them and talk about like what priests are struggling with or having anxiety over, and we can talk them through and he can become aware of them. College of Consultors is a little bit of a subgroup of Presbyteral Council, and that College of Consultors approves building projects, land sales, things like that. But it also, it's from the College of Consultors that we elect an administrator if we're between bishops. So that comes from the College of Consultors as well. And so I'm on both of those councils. Not sure how I got there, but there I am. And so please pray for me as I continue on in those councils throughout the next, they're both 5-year terms. So that's a little crazy, but anyway, we had our first meeting today at Presbyteral Council. It was really wonderful. It's a great group of priests, and our bishop is really incredible. And so anyway, keep me in your prayers about that. Thank you, and have a great week. God bless everybody.